it's superficial. No, because it's what we've done in this Parliament.
That would be like promising a £7 billion tax cut without saying where you get the money from.
The woman in the third row there, please.
One of the things that I'm really fed up with when I listen to politicians is the fact they're concentrating on people who already vote and are not concentrating on the great big chunk of the population who don't vote. Maybe if we concentrated on that, UKIP wouldn't be the problem. The problem is those people who don't vote. That's who we need to be concentrating on.
How would you see that being done? What would you like the politicians to do?
I think we need to talk about a new kind of politics where we talk about the truth and accountability, where we actually have people who represent local people. All we're seeing at the moment is politicians who are so detached from the whole of their communities. They don't know what the real world is like. They don't know how it is to live.
Let me just say one thing. Very briefly, because all three of us MPs on this panel, you have surgeries, you meet people every week, you probably actually get to see more of real life as it actually is in the real world than doing many, many other jobs. This myth that somehow every MP is out of touch is just completely untrue.
Okay. Julian Hubbard.
And I think there's actually a lot that the woman has said, sorry, I don't know your name, is absolutely right. And there is a huge problem. I haven't checked for the two of you. It's incredibly rare now for MPs to actually represent the areas they grew up in. And there is a huge difference. If you grew up there, you know the area. I grew up in Cambridge. I know the roads. I know the people. Lots of people become professional politicians. They find a seat because they like the idea of being an MP. It is an incredibly different thing. We also, there's a real problem with young people not voting. You know, we have to get young people to vote, to care about voting, because they vote about a quarter as much as older people, and that's a huge problem.
I said I'd go to the woman up there at the back. Do you want to come in still?
I was going to say, maybe they're all defecting because they're just as disillusioned, actually, as the rest of us. It beggars belief, professional politicians, and, oh, you're in touch, you're out of touch. You can't live on 74 grand? You can't live on 74 grand. Really? Like
65, you said.
75, whatever it is. You can't live on that. Because I know people that could live on tiny, tiny amounts of that. Because you have to. So maybe they're defecting because they're as disillusioned and bothered with it as the rest of us. I haven't voted since the last general election. I haven't voted in my local elections or anything. And my mum made us vote. She did the whole women die to get the vote. So I voted. She took me to my first voting poll at 18, and I've voted ever since. And I voted Liberal Democrat the last general election. I have no idea why. No idea.
Okay. Right. Thank you very much. We must move on to
that. If you lot failing yours, I'd be hungry and on the street.
Right.
And it just seems very unfair that you lot can continue walking around pretending that we're all in it together. And it's easy to say, oh, let's pick on the politicians and say they don't have a clue and all that lot. And I'm sure there are some honest, good, decent politicians that do what they're supposed to do. But there are also an awful lot of them that do.
Careful. Careful. Okay, thank you very much. Let's go on. We'll go on to another question now. This is from Cheryl Goff.